Good evening. Captain Dave here with another episode of Once Upon a Mishap, where the stories are real and the puns are bad. Tonight's topic, fireworks mishaps. You know, there were more than 10,000 emergency room visits in 2019 due to fireworks related accidents. And unfortunately for us, some of our sailors and Marines were part of that number. So let's begin, shall we? Our first story is called, Look What I Can Do! I'm sorry. Sorry, that's an old sketch from Saturday Night Live, Stuart. Anyway, a sailor was launching fireworks when one round exploded on his forehead, causing facial fractures. So, I don't even know what to say about this one. The report doesn't really say much else other than the member was counseled on proper and safe procedures. But we just hope that we don't have to start another list titled Things Not to Do with Your Forehead. Our next story is titled Follow the Bouncing Projectile. A sailor was at his friend's backyard where they were lighting off fireworks, and one projectile from a Roman candle bounced off the ground and hit the service member in his right eye. Unfortunately, he was treated and released from the hospital. But we've covered this one before in a previous lesson learned paper. Did you know that Roman candles are not meant to be handheld anymore? And so, judging by this report, if you're lighting Roman candles and one bounces off the ground, you probably were holding it in your hand. Don't do that. This next story is a classic example of how not to light a firework. And this one is titled, This Is How We Don't Do It. Sorry. Montel Jordan. 90s. Anyway. Sailor 1 was holding an explosive firework in his hand while Sailor 2 lit the fuse. The firework detonated immediately and after setting fire to the wick, sending shrapnel flying. And Sailor 2 received metal shrapnel in both of his eyes and second-degree burns on his neck, torso, and right hand. I don't know where metal shrapnel came from, but anyway, that's what the report said. And that should be reason number one why you don't light the firework in your hand like that. And also, in this case, fireworks were illegal in the state where they were lighting them. So make sure you know the laws and regulations wherever you're operating with your fireworks too. This next story is titled, All Is Well! Kevin Bacon from the movie Animal House at the end. If you don't know it, you gotta check that one out. While the sailor was watching family fireworks, a fountain firework tipped over. And according to the report, the sailor ran while pushing fellow onlookers out of the way. During the mass evacuation, he fell, fracturing his left hand, and suffered second-degree burns to his right hand, which kind of alludes to the fact that he was probably the one that was lighting the fountain firework. Anyway, with surgery and 14 days of convalescent leave and weeks of physical therapy, were a pretty high price to pay for this sailor to find out what his fight or flight response was. This story is titled An Emotional Event, and this one has practically nothing to do with fireworks, but there's a lesson, so indulge us for just a minute. An ensign was attending an Independence Day fireworks show when apparently he became so overwhelmed with pride and service and in his country that he fainted. Actually, he locked his knees. And his unwanted meeting with the ground resulted in 2 broken teeth. Ouch. The report also states that he was dehydrated and fatigued at the time, adding to his risk of becoming unconscious. Now, you know, fireworks aren't the only hazards that you might encounter this summer. And there's a reason that you're taught not to lock your knees at the service academies and in boot camps. So when you go out to enjoy this year's Independence Day celebrations, stay hydrated, don't lock your knees, and if you get emotional during the 1812 overture, good for you. It's the patriotic thing to do. That's all for tonight. Please be safe around fireworks this summer. And remember, It's no time for improvisation. You don't get extra points for burning yourself or blowing your finger off. And as always, you can find this full lesson and more products to help keep you safe this summer on our website. From the Naval Safety Center, I'm Captain Dave. Good night, and remember, let's be careful out there. So this year, for Independence Day, I decided to make a new, different special decoration for my front door that celebrated my love for music and also our founding fathers. It's a wreath of Franklin.